Come on in, everybody. Sit down and just open your hearts and your minds and your body language. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Mia Signs, and my co-host is Barry Selby. Want to say hi, Barry?
Hi, Barry.
Just like when who was that? Uh, Good night, Gracie. George Allen would say to his
Yeah,
wife,
yeah,
"Good night, Gracie. Good night, Gracie." Thank you. So we want to talk about the true meaning of the holiday season. It's really a very beautiful thing if you have your trauma under control and you have your triggers out of the way and you want to enjoy something special. It can be very, very special. So we're here to talk about what this has, how the celebration of the holidays or any holidays can support you. We're also going to talk about self-love, of course, spirituality, and miracles. So, Barry, do you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
sure. Besides the fact that both me and I have been friends for a long time now, well over a decade now, my work has been very parallel in some ways. We partnered on a few things too for that reason, but I've been a relationship coach for the last 13 years, although my work has been evolving more and more into self-love, into self-mastery with my clients, because I keep getting back to the fact that no relationship works until the one with yourself works. And so I'm also a best-selling author, a very prolific Facebook Live speaker, been at many summits, so you've seen me around probably, and we'll get to that later on.
Yes. And I'm also a metaphysical practitioner like Barry. I
Yeah,
also teach self-love and love. The idea and spirituality, the idea is when we understand our own self, which means we understand our own journey, we can love someone else's journey. And that's where the universal love comes in and the unconditional love, because we open up without as much, it's not supposed to be there. We're all still human, everybody, but for the majority part, it's very loving and sweet and peaceful, and it's a space that I know that both of us have worked very hard our entire life. Does that mean someone else can't feel the same way? It doesn't. It means you can, but it's about doing your inner work. Isn't
yeah.
that right, Barry? Yeah.
And that's the thing, is having done all this work over the years that we've both done it through, we can actually help our clients accelerate that because we've been there.
Yeah. Um, so the holidays are about, you can make the celebration of the holidays about anything,
Mm-hmm.
literally. Birthdays, the 4th of July, um, Easter, all of those are supposed to be celebrated. Now, Barry and I see this in a different way than maybe some, not those who study self-love, because it is all about your awareness, and the way that you can best serve yourself is about stepping into that love, that interpersonal space, that spirituality, and it all brings miracles. And we're going to get into the miracle making conversation soon as well, because there are several miracles that go along with this specific holiday, whether it is Hanukkah or whether it is Christmas. And many of us who are not sometimes we have to be careful not to get people all riled up. I almost said practicing Christians, because the Christ-like spirit is in all of us. So that was almost a faux pas. But you don't have to be practicing Judaism or Christianity. You can be spiritual. You can be other things to celebrate holidays and to have an open heart.
Yeah, and coming from a Jewish background, having been on a spiritual path for 30 plus years, I see a much more holistic view. And in fact, the idea of Christ's energy being in all of us, as a Jew, that would sound like heresy. But truthfully, I get really clearly what it's about. And right now we are on tonight's fifth night of Festival of Lights. So it is about the light and the joy and the upliftment of recognizing we are eternal. So it is a good time to talk about this.
Yeah. And what I really love that I didn't know about Hanukkah, the celebration of the lights, is due to um, lights or oil running out. and
Yes.
not having that special light, but it lasted the 8 days, correct?
Yeah, the story, it was a temple. Yeah, so vividly, it was about the temple that basically had to keep the lights on for people to be able to find it. And they realized they had enough oil for 2 nights. And they knew they wouldn't get any more supply because of what was going on with the Romans and everything else. They wouldn't get enough supply for until like the next week. I'm botching the story, but just to be clear. But the thing was, they recognized that when they put the oil in the lamp, it didn't run out, and it lasted 8 nights. So they actually got through that time, and people need to find them. They sort of guide their people home. So it was a very powerful time in the fable of that part of the Jewish faith, because again, all of this stuff is it's oral history. So how much of it is really accurate, and how much has been adjusted, we can say.
Was this part of Moses's experience during that time?
No, he had a whole different path.
Woohoo, Mia!
The
Now,
Bible has reason to it, and I'm not a Bible scholar, so I'm not.
yeah. Now, and then we all know, or many of us know about Christ's birth, and that's why we celebrate Christmas. Um, it wasn't 8 days; it was only what was it? 3 days and three wise men, or something like that.
I know it's Christmas. There's so many numbers; it gets confusing.
Yeah. So let's talk about how this can support people, because that was part of the talk was, and how this can bless you. It is about the up leveling of how you feel and what you want to feel. There are so many stories during our life that create our experience. This is, also part of the self-love journey, is that we see from the moment we were born until we make this decision to reevaluate ourselves and to look at what we believe in and what we want to keep and what we want to toss out. This is where we can literally change traumas. I'll just share a little bit about my experience. Many people know that I had a very chaotic childhood. It's in many of my writings. Um, Christmas was my mother's favorite time of year. And growing up as a child, you don't realize until you're older that your mother is literally not well. She's mentally ill. And it's not that that's why she loved Christmas, but it is why there was so much chaos in our house. And so every Christmas Eve, I would pray and beg that there would be no fighting like there was every single night of the year, and that we could sleep and Santa could come. And of course, they did try to behave, because that's what they instilled in us, that Santa was coming, and the little ones were listening for the reindeers on the roof, and the bag being banged around up there. And so I even had a great grandmother who passed on Christmas Eve. So we can carry many different things with us into the holidays, whether it's good or bad. You have a choice to choose whether you want to continue to bring forth that trauma, that drama, or whether you want to heal it and recreate an experience. Sometimes for people, it takes a while because to learn this, because it's only like about 24 hours, right? That sacred time that we call the Christmas holiday, between Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. And so it really is about the choice that you can bring. Barry, can you talk a little bit and share? Um, well, add on to what I shared.
Well, I can add another day to it from my perspective, because coming from England, where I was raised, we had Boxing Day as well. So we actually had 2.5 days, so to speak: Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and Boxing Day. But for me, and also being raised in the Jewish culture at that point, being younger, I don't remember actually. We didn't, from all the way till I was raised, we didn't have a Christmas tree, because the explanation was that because we're Jewish, we didn't have a Christmas tree because it's a Christian thing, which it wasn't true, but that's what they said. The reality was, though, I didn't want to do the cleanup, so my dad didn't want to do the work. So let's be clear about that. We did decorate a little bit and stuff like that. But the thing for me was that Christmas, because I did have a different experience from my friends growing up in England, I always felt Christmas was different than it was presented as. And it was interesting because it was probably, I'm just thinking about when it happened, probably about 20 years ago. I was in a relationship, and my girlfriend and I went to see her family in Sun Valley, Idaho. Now, this is how bizarre it was. They had I guess it was a winter chalet. I don't remember the family dynamic now, but the we were sitting in the living room of the house with a big tree, and there were all the grandkids over and other family members. So there's like presents spread over the whole floor, and it was sun shining and it was snowing. First time I'd ever have a white Christmas, so that was like a very big milestone for me in some ways. So Christmas has this tradition of having a certain look. There's this, and of course in California, a white Christmas is very rare, especially in Southern California. So the idea of the white Christmas was always disingenuous to me. In fact, what I realized it was marketing. So Christmas really comes back to how do we take the values of Christmas and embody them ourselves? Because most of what we talk about Christmas is a hallmark occasion. It's not a real experience. And one of the things for me about Christmas, because it is towards the end of the year, is a chance to look at the gifts and presents we've had over the previous 11, 12 months. And so understanding gratitude as a way of being in the holiday spirit is a great place, because for one thing, when we're grateful, we're just be more generous and giving, which is what Christmas is all about. And secondly, we might actually take better care of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So
I love it because it allows us to go over the beautiful things like our life, our love, our connections with our family, and to relax. I love the holidays now because literally I find myself doing what I want to do or wanted to do. As a little child, I get up and it's the only day of the year, or Thanksgiving, but I didn't do that this year, that I say, let's turn on cartoons. Make sure they're Tom and Jerry, you know. So whatever you guys want to do, make it about you. It's not about the selfishness. Also, let's demystify here a little bit about self-love. Self-love is not selfish. It's not arrogant. It's extremely loving. I'm going to give my reason, and then Barry's going to talk a little bit about this. The reason it is about self-love and why it's okay and beautiful to experience this and live it is because it's about you. You are the only one that comes into this life, and you're also leaving this life. This is your experience. We can't support others unless we fill ourselves up. You wouldn't see me so much wanting to support you guys, holding events, holding talks, and then the 5-day classes that are free that I do, if I didn't fill myself up first, because I would be a basket case. But it literally is about filling ourselves, taking care of ourselves, healing those wounds, readjusting our concepts, perceptions, how we see things, and going from there. Because if you are not in the space of connection to yourself, you can't love as deeply as you'd like to. You're probably dealing with a lot of stuff going on. And so make it about you, because when you make it about you, guess what? You can make it about other people. You can literally support so many more people that you love and adore. And that's one reason that we have to continue to demystify the concept of self-love, because it is about growing inside our evolution.
in fact, I would add to that, which is self-love is a self-honoring practice. You know, we all know what happens when you're on an airplane. They tell you about, when you're with a child, put the oxygen mask on first, then put it on the child, because if you keep giving to other people, you end up draining yourself. You're not functional. Mm-hmm. And so self-love is as you said, is like it's almost like the preparation energy to be able to give to the world. You got to give to yourself first. And in my work, that's definitely part of the work. But for me, self-love is the the wrapping paper. This is holidays, to at least a dozen other things I help my clients do or learn how to do, like self-trust, self-honoring, self-respect, self-confidence, all these different things. But for me, self-love is the wrapping paper for. So when you start focusing on self-love, then you go deeper and deeper and deeper. And one thing you said about this thing about giving to yourself first, so you can take care of other people and helping other people as well, is I've been very passionate about breaking or disrupting the codependent cycle. I've actually got a series on my website called Cracking the Codependency Code. And it's a series of talks that a friend of mine and I did about how we fall into trap of codependency. And one of those things is if we think the other person is going to love us enough to fill us up, which never happens, by the way. We will always feel hungry when we're looking for someone else to love us, because they can't fill us up as much as we can fill ourselves up. So self-love frees us from that trap of codependency, or that limitation of codependency. It also means that every single relationship around us transforms when we love ourselves first, because we're not looking to get something from other people. And if you're like me, you've probably met people in the world who are very needy and desperate and want your love so they feel good. And it feels like you're being drained. So it's not very pleasant to be in the receiving end of that either.
Yeah,
So when I teach self-love to my clients, it actually helps all their friends as well because it might be as needed that way.
that's right. And the shift and the grow and the energy ripples out.
Yeah.
So let's bring in spirituality. That's that thing that can literally change our experience within ourselves. There are a lot of people who don't believe in the word God, creator, source. And so, what I ask you, if you're catch this on a replay or something, what I ask you to do is to actually replace that with your higher self. What would that be? That would be you operating and connecting upward. So, think about that and see how that feels for you. The beauty of spirituality, so many people, it's reflected in Hanukkah with the lights. It's reflected in Christianity with Christmas. It's reflected in a lot of other aspects, not necessarily around this time of year, but it's who we divinely are. We find out that as we take this journey into spirituality, that we can go deeper and have a beautiful connection. With that, we can create miracles. Now let's keep on a little bit more about the spirituality, because it's it literally changes the lives of those who seek it and use it as part of who they are. Mr. Barry,
Yes.
over to you in that studio.
I absolutely agree with you. The thing about spirituality, and it is a thing where some people go, well, I don't believe in that sort of thing. One of my favorite memes that I think is one of them, and a friend of mine quoted this, is that um, religion is for people who are afraid of hell. Spirituality is for people who've been there. And coming from a Jewish background where there's no belief in hell, it's always been an interesting understanding. For me, spirituality is really recognizing that who we are as one of my teachers puts it, are divine beings having a human experience. So first of all, we're not just physical presence; we're more than that. And if you're like most of us who are on this path, you recognize that when you start looking at the world, you sense that that you're wearing a vehicle, so to speak. This is the car you're driving, but who you are as the driver is more than that. And so who we are is again, divine being having a human experience, which means that all of us are the same that way. So we are basically, if you want to imagine as a metaphor, we're all waves in the ocean. We're not separate from the ocean. We're not separate from each other. We're all connected. And so the understanding of that metaphor is that the ocean is all of us combined. It is the unification or the inclusion of all of us, good, bad, and indifferent. Even those people you have issues with, even the people you hate, even the people who you've been abused by, also have a spiritual content themselves. And that's one of the biggest challenges in this work, is to see beyond the behavior that people portray, present, do. And with our current political situation, that's going to be a big task, I know. But to recognize that each individual person out there who we may have distrust with or upset with, in that person is a spiritual being. Now, you can love that spiritual being without having to do anything about that human experience. So one of the biggest things about being a spiritual person is not to be blindly accepting everybody unconditionally, saying everyone's fine, but to recognize that people have their own path and to leave them to it. One of the biggest challenges I've watched for myself is when I see somebody do something, part of me wants to fix it, make it better for them and help them out or change their mind. But recognize that it's not my job. Because being spiritual beings, we choose our experience in this human experience. Excuse me, we choose the experience in our human presentation. And so when something happens in our lives or somebody else's life, how we interact with that may or may not be aligned to that path we've chosen. So respect other people from the point of view of their spiritual expression, and then interact them as you would choose to do from your own self-support. Because self-love, again, is that reflection on ourselves. And so being a spiritual being, when we remember ourselves, self-love becomes automatic.
It's beautiful. And this is why I also feel that spirituality and self love work so smoothly together. There's a couple of books that I'm going to recommend that Barry and I talked about sharing. And we also have these prizes coming up.
Oh,
And
yes.
you can choose either. So here, there's 4 prizes, unless you want the books and you don't want the other ones that we're going to offer. Um, so there's Love Revolution, which is the book that was created actually in the Self Love Revolution group when it was called Rainbow Heart Classroom. And Love Revolution, stories that radically change the way we love. And it says Mia Signs and 26 other or 25 other love revolutionaries. Barry's chapter is right after mine. So I open the book, then there's Barry's, then there's Patty Alfonso, and the list goes down through the beautiful path. The reason we did it this way is because, or I did it this way when I created it. Barry's my partner now, and so in the publishing company, and so we have another Love Revolution book out. But the reason we did it is it's how we heal ourself. We go through our childhood into our young adult years, into our 20s, 30s, 40s. So we go from birth through all those experiences and into death. So this book covers that. Each coach had written a beautiful, beautiful chapter. And then the other book is The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. Both books are actually part of a 6-book series that my clients read when they work with me privately and in group as well. So we thought that. And the other 2 gifts would be a session with Barry and a free session with me. And this is about you and what you guys want to heal in that session. And that's it. Ta-da! So you guys will get to choose soon what you'd like. Now, miracles. Miracles, I believe, many believe, that can happen all the time. As we raise our self-love, as we raise our spiritual essence and ability and grow, we produce miracles. Many people call them manifestations, demonstrations, miracles. And so when we open up our heart to the essence of a miracle, this is when they happen. Miracles. I have a beautiful miracle to share for this beautiful holiday season. Right, Barry?
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed.
Yes. So I want to share my miracle. Then I want to open up the lines to see if any of you on the lines here have questions. And then we're going to spin and choose names and answer questions too, because this is a big topic about you, right? Your self-love, your spiritual awareness, and making miracles, creating something different than you had before. So I do want to share that. Big breath. This is a biggie, guys. Many of you know that I was diagnosed with breast cancer April 27th, 2020. And I was going to have surgery and chemo and all that. And right before that happened, in the beginning of July, I put the nix on that. And I literally, this is one of the first public places where I'm going to announce what I did. Besides the holistic stuff, such as my poor man's chemo, my LifeWave patches that I did, the isogenic shakes to build the glutathione, to change the absorption rate. I rebuilt my body. I rebuilt my gut system. I worked on everything. But before that happened, I've always had a relationship with God since I was really little, being a 3rd-generation metaphysician and a metaphysical practitioner today. I did what I normally did. I got very clear on what was going on with me. I realized there was an emotional one. At first I was dying. I was heading into stage 4 cancer, between 3 and 4. And they also had said that I had cervical cancer. And I said, which is worse? The breast was worse. So I healed that, or I set out to heal that and to take care of the cervical cancer in the fall, which is what we're in right now. And it was really brilliant because the question was posed to me, do you want to die, by a family member? No, I don't. Then a couple days later, does your soul want to leave? So I thought about that and I realized I was tired. I was tired of the chaos from my life. I was tired of working so hard. I was just tired. I came to this beautiful island that I live on to recuperate a year and a half ago. And I did so very quickly, but I was just tired. And so in that space, I realized I had some work to do. I discovered what the emotional issue was, and I sought out to heal that. I realized I wanted to live. That was also very important. And so I went outside and I talked to God like I do almost every day. I always have conversations, and I've always had them since I was little. So, and you guys can too. So it's not just a Mia thing. So I stood out there on my patio looking up at the stars. They were really beautiful, feeling a sense of urgency because I was on my way out. And I said, and I included the universe in this because, we all don't, this is new to each person who steps up and defends their life. And I stood there and I said, God, the universe, I don't think you want me to die. I do great work for humanity and I know it needs to continue. What I need, see, this is the way we talk. We don't beg, plead. We talk as equals because we are the infinite spiritual likeness of God. And so when you stand in that space, you can receive your miracles. You can declare them when you understand this. And I said, I don't think you want me to die. I'm not leaving, as I said. And so I need a new piece of my soul. I You helped me 12 years ago get out of that wheelchair and recreate my life. I need it now. And so within 2 days, my life literally changed. I had gone off camera, not doing any work because I looked very haggard and gray looking and not well. 2 days later, people started saying, friends were saying on Zoom, wow, what happened to you? You look so good. You look younger than you did before. I was like, whoa, what's going on? And I noticed at that time, people were coming into my life with the information that I needed to heal my body. So I believe in that moment, I had my healing with God. But it took the 4.5 months to clear the tumors out of my body, to have the cancer come out of my pectoral muscle and away because it had spread out of my armpit where they wanted to do radiation back out. I have perfectly um, amazing lymph nodes at the moment. Well, I shouldn't say at the moment, I'm healed. Um, 2 weeks ago, I went for the cervical checkup because I was like, okay, it's time to look at this. The doctor had read the gynecologist, oncologist. She read my report and she said some interesting stuff, which means she read everything, all the conversations and nuances. She said, um, you were a nurse. And I said, yeah, I used to be a nurse. And I said, that's really interesting you bring that up. And then she said, you've had a remarkable healing here. Your tumors have shrunk down to almost nothing. You appear to be cancer free, where the cancer markers were coming out on the breast at that point. And she said, let's hope that you had a healing in your cervix. And I said, okay. So I never thought before. Here I knew I had this massive healing, for my breasts, where I didn't have to have them cut, where everything grew back perfectly, including the skin that was affected is now new healthy skin. Um, and so when I got in the search and she was examining me, she said, Mia, everything is gone. It's not there. You don't even have to have an ultrasound. She said, I'm going to do the biopsy. She did the biopsy. And afterwards I said, please do the ultrasound too. Please schedule that because I want proof, continued proof. And so in that moment, my life changed. The cervix was gone, the breast cancer was healed. And so I just have to say there are miracles out there, everyone. And this is my Christmas miracle. And I believe that when we have these miracles, I teach about love so deeply that when we have these miracles, we have gifts that come to us. What are those gifts? Find those gifts. Those are the gratitude, the up leveling of who we are. I had a beautiful gift 4.5 years ago after my first husband embezzled close to 100 grand out of my account. That was our settlement from our marriage that had finally was paying out. Within 5 minutes, I felt a sense of abundance, peace, and I knew God had something better for me. Well, what came through me was what many of you have experienced, the miracle energy healing process. And that was my gift. I also got to speak on stage with Marianne Williamson as she cited my work back to the people in the audience. That was my gift. So look at your gifts. My gift this time is I get to support an Indigenous culture in Northern Territory of Canada, the women of the Dene Nation. And I'm bringing people along to enjoy that journey of teaching spirituality and energy. And so that's my gift. What's your gift? Look for your gift. Barry, you live a congruent life to how you are. What's your most recent gift? It can be learning to make your bread. It can be anything. But what moves your heart
Right.
that has, you didn't know that you were going to be put on the spot, and I didn't know I was going to put you on the spot.
I don't know if I'd class becoming a sourdough baker as a miracle. That was just a joy experiment and hobby. I would say the biggest gift is actually reconnecting with a friend of mine who's now basically a partner in launching a whole new teaching that I've known for at least 6 years. She actually, I just had a Facebook memory came up today of a post I shared of hers like 4 years ago. But she reached out to me because she had just gone through a major transformation in her life because something I said to her 4 years ago. Mm. And her coming back to me, not only just to tell me how much she was grateful for what I'd given her, and I had no memory of this. I mean, it was like one of the things where I'd just given it and moved on. But the fact she's come back now, and now she's committed to a path of working together on something we're launching together, probably next month, maybe sooner, we're working on it. That is the piece of the work I didn't know I was missing. It was one of the things where it wasn't much a miracle as a recognition that Spirit was taking care of me. Yeah. You know, I part of my self-love practice is gratitude, we may talk about it a bit later too. And to recognize that these things are showing up, move me to such gratitude that, one, I'm being taken care of by universe. Two, that what I've been feeling inside was being mirrored outside of me by somebody else, because I knew there was something deeper coming up. Because in my work, I've always felt that while I was coaching, the other coaches I'm sort of in the same niche with. Yeah, weren't the same. Like, they played at the surface, but I was going much deeper, and the same as Mia does. And so I knew that in the work I was doing, I had to go deeper, but I wasn't sure how I'd present that because it wasn't my skill set. My friend happens to be an extremely effective communicator in marketing and in teaching, but she wants my teaching to go out through that. So the miracle for me is that she basically just has taken what I've been talking about and has said, let's make this massive. And I'm like, okay. So that for me is my most recent miracle. That's what I'm working on now. And I don't want to talk about the naming yet, because there's some pieces of it that we want to get in place before we say, ta-da, it's here. But it will be a game changer for many people, and it's going to really transform relationships in the world.
That's really beautiful. Really, really beautiful. I love when we can connect our gratitude with our miracles. Gratitude is a foundation to healing. It's a foundation of love. And so that alone, if you get into a gratitude practice of, even if you're not a journaler to journal things out, even if you talk to yourself, give yourself 5 things that you're grateful for, and then repeat it at night to start out without repeating the stuff that you repeated that morning. So if you're talking about being grateful for your bed, you can't say that again. And remember, it doesn't have to be, I moved a mountain today, I'm so grateful. It can be gratitude. Healing is gratitude, and it can be for toothbrushes and toothpaste. Many of you have heard the story when I was had a healing at the age of, I think, 10 or 11 from having such buck teeth that I couldn't eat a sandwich. And I was the youngest of 4. I had been to the orthodontist, but then they put the braces on the older kids, siblings. I was the baby. And so my grandmother said, be grateful for your toothbrush, for your toothpaste, for the ability to brush your teeth, for having teeth to be able to chew your food. So I began my little mastery when I was young and, at that age. And guess what happened? A couple years or like a year later, I transferred into a different school, a private school in Beverly Hills. And the girls were saying, wow, your teeth are gorgeous. When did you get your braces off? And I'm like, what? And I ran into the bathroom and bam, my smile looked like everyone else's. And we can have healings from gratitude. Why? Because we're connected to it. It's that beautiful pathway forward to get to where we want to go. Love that. Anything added on to that before we start to draw names?
Yes, actually, on the gratitude thing, I've talked about it a lot in my work as well. And as you said, if you're not a journaler, you can do gratitude. Like you said, with talking gratitude, especially if you do it in the mirror into your own eyes, that's a real powerful tool. In fact, for my self-love practice, we use the mirror for that too, because the mirror is a great reflection, literally, of us seeing ourselves. And when we say things to ourselves and we impact ourselves, we feel it and we see it in the mirror. The thing that I started doing a couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago, was I wanted to do gratitude, but I'm not a journaler myself. So I decided, okay, what I'll do is I'll do like post-it notes or short or little brief notes and stick them in a jar. And so what happened was I sort of went to the like Office Depot or Staples, one of those places, and I found like these little notepad stacks that are like 2¼ square that are not sticky, so I can write them and fold them up. And so I've got to bring out a prop. I created a gratitude jar a few years ago, and you can see it's pretty full. This is a year's worth, almost a year's worth, as of a couple of weeks from now. And so basically this is my reminder to myself by doing gratitude, because it's a visceral Right. See, the thing with journals for me, they pile up on the table, but they're all hidden. This is right in front of me, and it's and colorful because I'm a colorful person. So it reminds me that gratitude is something to keep doing. And so even when I look at the jar, it comes back to gratitude because they call it a heuristic. It's a anchor into that state of gratitude. So for me, gratitude is an amazing, powerful thing. And to take it to a deeper level, when we do the real internal processing work, is being grateful for the lessons we get. Because sometimes those lessons can seem very obtuse or painful or sideways or upsetting. When you find the gratitude in that for the lesson, then the lesson becomes a gift. It's like one of the things I learned from a long time ago is that pain, when you have pain in our system, people take painkillers to get rid of it. But what if you understand that pain is not a issue in itself, but it's a messenger of something deeper? Pain is the body's way of telling you something's wrong. If you listen to the situation, you solve the problem, the pain goes away on its own. So the same way, it's like being grateful and understanding that the gifts that keep coming, because we're grateful for what is available, the quality of our life improves day by day by day.
Yes,
So,
I love that. It's that awareness that opens up and gets and expands out. Okay,
yes.
so I've got my phone here instead of that nifty difty thing. I'm going to pull up a blank note thing
Okay.
to put two numbers on it because we can just wham it out at once then, sweetly. Okay. And I could send it to you also, Barry, in the private chat, but I've got it here. Okay, so I'm done with it. I'm putting my hand. I almost showed you guys what it was. I put my hands down. They're staying here. So in the chat, you guys can actually choose whichever, you don't have to choose Love Revolution. You can choose Don Miguel Ruiz. You don't have to choose that. You can also, there can be 4 people that want to work with Barry. or whatever. So can you guys remember the chat is down below here where it says more, and then there's the chat. Can you guys put in a number from 1 to 10? Cool. Okay. All righty. So we have, Mia loves to play this way. I love to play this way. Okay, so guys, nobody got it. I love y'all. Okay, we have 4s, 3s, 7s. Okay, Kamala got one of them. So we have how many people here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, because I love to play. All 8 of you win. Yay. Okay, so guys, either put down if you want a book, Love Revolution, Don Miguel Ruiz, The 4 Agreements, or whether you'd like a private session with Barry or myself. You can either put it here or I'm also going to have to communicate with you either through Facebook Messenger or by my email, mia@miasigns.com, because if you get the books, they have to be delivered to you. So, which is fine. You can give a mailing address or whatever you want. So this is so fun. I'm excited. Okay, so let's see. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to photograph this so that I have it and pull this up. Oh, sweet. I got a private session with Mia here. Okay, guys. So this was really lovely. Do we have any questions about anything we've talked about too, so that we can support you? Thank you, Jeff. Okay. Any questions? Any support?
Yes, hello.
Yes, hello.
I'm Jean. I'm from New York. Barry, could you repeat or put it in the chat what you said about spirituality and religion? I think it was something about being there or health, something about,
So
do you remember?
yes, it's actually it's from one of my teachers originally, but it was a meme I saw around, which just cracked me up. So, and it's not literal, but just take the point to
Right.
heart about
Yeah.
religion, because religion is set up as a structure of, and I'm going to be careful with the words I use. I'm not saying indoctrination, but religion is basically a structure of belief people have that is absolutely rigid, and you don't stray from the path. Like in Catholicism, you know, you're born in sin from the get-go, so you have no chance of winning in the first place. So the idea is that religion is for people who are afraid of hell because it's built on the sense of fear, whereas spirituality is for people who've already been there, meaning that we've already been through the valley of darkness, we have challenges. The spirituality is more of an embracing of all of what we go through. So
Yes.
you need to be very avoidant of embracing everything, at least my understanding of it is. Whereas spirituality is about the fact that we're spiritual beings in all the things we do, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is it possible for those of you, to send me your email and I'll write you? That's probably the easiest. We have a couple of you who have done that, which is brilliant. Thank you. So I need emails from about 5 other people, please. And also choose what you'd like. I have 3 choices already lined up, and so beautiful. I'm photographing them, and
Fran just messaged me privately saying she wanted a session with me.
that's perfect. I'm sorry, you said somebody messaged you privately?
Yeah, Fran said she wanted a session with me, so you can have her.
Fran, can you message me so that I can keep the photograph of it, please? And I think that that's perfect. Lovely. Okay. Kelly. All right, guys. Keep putting in your info. I do hope that if you guys are interested in working on the Dene project, the unconditional love, contact me, mia@miasigns.com. And it's really, or watch your email, because most of you got here from the email that went out to you guys. I'll be sending that out as well. Very, very beautiful. Okay, let's see. Let me see if I'm, anything else, Barry? Sense of fun. I wish that we had a music and singing and we can pass around candied apples that I only dreamed of making you guys, but never obviously produced them.
Maybe you can put a bit of music on the front and the back end in the replay.
All right. Beautiful. Okay, I'm going to, anyone else? Let's see. Fran, Kamala, Melissa, Kelly, Jeff, Melissa, let's see, Jean, Jean, you asked for a book or a session. I'm not sure which you want.
We all won?
Well, not everybody, because not everybody wanted to, there were only 8 out of 16 people. So I said, okay, you guys stepped up, you get to win. So let's see, did Kelly, I think I'm looking for Kelly's info. Oh no, I got Kelly's, okay. Okay, so I've got, sorry, I'm gonna read it really quick. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I need, Jean, what you want, and your email, and Fran, I need to have your email too, so I can set it up with you guys. Unless,
all right.
Okay, all right. So, Barry,
Yes.
any last closing comments that you'd like to share?
I would say, for me, what's up right now is because we are at the holiday time, and because of this being a strange year we've been through. I would like to. I think I would offer to say is that this is perhaps the most challenging time of year for people when you're not allowed to, depending where you live in the country or in the world, to go and see your family when you haven't been with them all the time because of this new thing about being in a pod and being in that sort of zone. Is recognize that it's just a temporary situation. That, I mean, it's funny from my in the echoes of all my Jewish history. remember hearing talk about how we celebrate at oh my god, I forget which festival it was. We celebrate about how like we're celebrating now, but one day we'll be in Jerusalem, sort of thing. It would be the thing about one day we'll be there. But the recognition is that this Christmas may be the most happiest one together, one with your friends and family, like you normally would have. But doesn't mean it should be a bad experience. It's a great time to, as you said, like to watch cartoons. It's a great time to spend time celebrating yourself, being grateful. It's also a great time to be of service. If you can do something of service for other people at the holidays, that's one of the most double whammy things you can do, because you help somebody else and you help yourself at the same time. So be willing to serve, whether it's doing something where it's going to feed people, like feeding the homeless or giving them food to food banks. You do that sort of thing at Christmas, which is a gift you can give safely in the current conditions, and you can contribute to other people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about take. Yes, we'd like to receive presents, but sometimes the present you get is giving. So,
struggling.
Sorry, I was setting something because I realized I wanted to gift everybody a sound bath that is incredible by David Kennett. I've given it to my people, and I'm going to let you finish up what you were saying in a minute. I'm sorry, but that's what you heard that pop on was. I was getting it set up, and I was going to say, stay with us. Originally, I had wanted to create a concert for everybody to see with David, but our calendars never were able to get together to talk about it, to set it up. So I would love for you all, if you'd like to hear this, and Facebook land as well, if you'd like to hear the stay on here, because this is really beautiful. We'll say goodbye afterwards. It's just really fabulous. So I speak for a minute, guide us in, and then David asks us for our intentions, and then it begins. It's really glorious. Allow your body to feel the vibration, the sounds.
Super big treat here.
Literally the glory of it. Okay, here we go.
Okay, you're going to give us a super duper big treat here. Are you ready? Shall I
I'm ready.
warm us up? Okay, great. All right, everyone, just relax either in your chair or if you're laying down, feel the fabric underneath you and just melt into your bed or your chair. And as the sound comes, bring it into you, into your most inner deep space, and just listen and have it heal your body. And thank you, David.
Thank you. If you have headphones or earbuds close by too, I recommend that. It sounds a little better. So here we go. So having an intention, you might wish for optimal health, optimal immune function, any body system, gland or organ, maybe just focus on that part of the body and have this intention of balancing, optimizing for yourself and your well-being. Blessings.
And you guys can come back to me. I just love David's work. I think he's brilliant. Whew. I also have to apologize to everybody who is listening on Facebook. I apologize. I just unlocked it from being private to public as David began. So watch the replay. Yeah, you'll really like it. And I'm going to say goodbye to Facebook, but keep everybody on Zoom and say goodbye to them. Goodbye, Facebook. Thank you.